On my left hand, in the architecture of my wrist, is my T-Mobile digits-powered Samsung Gear S2 smartwatch. Damn heavy, but it's a great product. On my right hand is a Chinese company called Movio with a cool smartwatch. It's actually also very interesting. My name is Karl Weaver. 我是魏卡尔，你好。今天欢迎你参加今天晚上的演讲。Namaste, Shutagatam, Apkaisaye. So I'm a wireless market mobile device specialist. I've spent my entire professional career helping Western companies sell mobile technologies to the Far East. I've spent 15 years of my life living in Greater China as well. Tonight's presentation, I'll talk about three things. First of all, I'll talk about embedded SIM, eSIM. E for you techie geeky. Well, that means all of you. You techie geeky crowd. EUICC, Universal Integrated Circuit Card. Embedded SIM, eSIM, same thing or similar. Second thing I'll talk about is the GSMA's Remote SIM Provisioning program. Third thing I'll talk about is wearables. I happen to have two of them right now. I'll talk about wearables, but I want to relate the important thing is we don't want to be damn laggards in this state, right? We want to be leading in technology. I heard somebody talk about smart cities. Do we have a mobile app that you can download to use on Sound Transit? Hello, Houston, we got a problem here. So I would really like Sound Transit people to be here to listen to what I talk about, which is how you use wearables in the subway transit system using NFC, which is already on this watch, already ready. By the way, this is also the first device in the world enabled for the GSMA's Remote SIM Provisioning program. And thanks to T-Mobile, which is a very savvy MNO, mobile network operator, they have enabled remote SIM provisioning on the Digits program, which is very, very cool. Okay, enough of that, let's go on. So this is who I am, this is what I do. Oasis is a smart card manufacturer, French-owned, French invested out of Singapore. There are many different IoT protocols, many different protocols. Some of them won't see the light of day, but here's one thing's for sure. It's a small company called Qualcomm. They're going from 4G, narrowband IoT to 5G. Pretty much, I'm sure that they will lead in IoT. What does an embedded SIM do? Well, you first have to embed it. It's also removable, so the name is very, very misleading. Actually, you can have a removable embedded SIM, if that makes any sense. But normally, you're going to embed it, then you're going to connect it to the network, and then you're going to activate it. The cool thing is, you can activate the device. You can activate this device. The GSMA Remote SIM Provisioning program allows you, the owner of the device, to activate the device. This stuff is very, very cool. Traditional SIM, the USIM we call it, Universal SIM, this is going away. This will be gone in 2 or 3 years. It simply will be gone because it's all being embedded. So disposable SIMs are non-reprogrammable. The ESE, secure element, embedded secure element is in the embedded SIM. Does that make any sense? The embedded secure element is in the embedded SIM. That's basically giving you the security for your watch and other devices. The eSIM is simply the physical form factor. Soft SIM is nothing but virtually creating the ability to link up to the OTA network, but it's still soft SIM, there's no security. You need the TEE, the Trusted Execution Environment, if you want that. Move on quickly. The GSMA is running this program called Remote SIM Provisioning. They have it for M2M devices for connected cars. They also have it for consumer electronic devices, which is actually where I'm kind of playing right now. It's very cool. These are the phases. Here we are right now, phase 2. That's why it's very cool what T-Mobile is doing right now with the Digits program. Now, this is very critical. This is actually your embedded SIM, and it has a subscription manager. It covers the security, data analytics as well. Customer onboarding, security, geolocation, and activation. Basically, it's embedded into the device. The bootstrap is very, very critical because the bootstrap stays where it's turned on in that country. How am I doing for time? 1 minute, oh, come on. All right, so basically you use the operator's network in the cloud to provision the embedded SIM into the device. This is an idea of how you would provision it. You as an end user would basically provision it this way. This is the software you would use. This is really important. Wearables are fueling transit subway payment especially in China and in the Far East, a little bit in Europe, but it really is the Far East. They're moving rapidly with this technology on smart watches, NFC-enabled rings, wristbands, and eventually smartphones as well. So there's a company in Shenzhen called Snowball, invested by NXP Technology. NXP is, well, pretty much the leader in near-field communications controller chips. And this is actually in play right now. Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Guangzhou have this network set up. This is very, very cool. And they have a wearable strategy. Oh, that's it. That was pretty good. Now I'll take questions. On East Coast, we usually talk fairly fast. So, I know that was a lot of information, very, very quickly, but yes, sir.
SIMs traditionally have taken up a lot of space in devices, especially when you're getting to wearables. Space is at a high commodity. How are you going to compete with like GAT servers?
That's the biggest one right there. And there's a ball grid array package that's so small it's almost it's smaller than a piece of rice almost. No, this is the future. This is the future. And you have no security on any IoT device unless you have embedded tamper-resistant hardware security. I've been down that road with software people who think, I don't need hardware. You do need hardware.
So hardware is still good, but you can have hardware in your phone and run like a GAT server to actually do the communication. I'm just trying to see where you are.
Where I am is the GSMA's Remote SIM Provisioning program is what T-Mobile has adopted right now. I don't know as much about what you're talking about, but I do know that this entire country and the world works on standards. The GSMA Remote SIM Provisioning Program 3.1 is the standard for these IoT devices. And it's already migrated to narrowband IoT and 5G. Qualcomm has just announced a 5G chip. That's where I am. That's the standards. That's the only way you should sell technology, through standardization. I don't know what you're talking about, but we can talk later. I'd be very happy. Please.
Yeah, just curious to know, how far away is the soft SIM, and is the soft SIM
Good question.
the gateway to having 3 or 4 truly global telco operators where we don't really care about who owns the infrastructure underneath it?
You can have soft SIM right now.
What's the question?
The question is, how close are they to using soft SIM? Actually, there's a company in China called Xiaomi. Xiaomi is using soft SIM in their smartphones, and I think they have it in a children's smartwatch. But the problem is they can't sell that in the United States because mobile network operators will not allow soft SIM unless it has tamper-resistant security. Fortunately, there is a security that's fairly tamper-resistant. It's called the Trusted Execution Environment that works with ARM Trust Zone. So the Trusted Execution Environment is in all Qualcomm chips. It's also in MediaTek chips. When it comes right down to it, soft SIM will play a role. It will play a role, but only if you have the way to secure the operator's profile, because what we're talking about is the operator's profile. They don't want it out there naked for some hacker to go and hack it. We're talking about the operator's profile here. They want it secure, safe, tamper-resistant in the hardware, somehow in the hardware. And soft SIM can be secured with hardware within inside ARM's Trust Zone. That's the answer. Other questions?
So just to clarify.
Yeah, I think I know you.
Yeah, I know about it. So just to clarify, does it use the trust zone? It doesn't compete with the trust zone?
Trust Zone, as you know, come on, you know the answer to that.
No, I
Trust
don't
Zone-
know. Actually, I don't know the SIM side of this. I know the trust zone.
This
side.
man knows a lot. So Trust Zone is from ARM, okay? But the Trusted Execution Environment is actually the software security implementation that goes from the real world operating system into this secure environment called Trust Zone. And the TE is a piece of software that takes any legitimate application and brings it into a secure environment where you can process that without fear of hackers getting to that. Actually, all of the Netflix, Amazon, Google, they're all using it for protection of streaming video content. But on the mobile payment side, Apple is using this with the biometric authentication to protect the mobile payments in Apple Pay. Yes?
So I was wondering, when eSIM technology becomes widespread, you talked a lot about how MNOs...
Well, it's already in all the cars, the major, and I think Steve's cars probably have eSIM right now.
But on commodity smartphones, I'm really talking about.
Yeah, the end of the year.
You talked about how it'll affect MNOs, but I was wondering how you think it's going to affect mobile virtual network operators.
That's a good question.
Mobile and Project Pi and all that.
You'll see more new mobile virtual network operators emerging. maybe they'll be talking to Sound Transit because they really should.
Do you think that the MNOs are going to get defensive about that as the MVNOs?
No, because they still own the network in the end. They still own the network, and in the end, if they lower the garden walls, in the end, they will benefit, because this country only has 4 real network operators, wireless network, WAN operators, and they're all still here, they're all still active. They need the help.
Just one more question.
Yes, you mentioned the remote SIM provisioning
Program.
and I think it said in phase 1 that there was as it applies to vehicles, connected vehicles.
Yes.
Does this apply to other things such as drone aircraft, trains, ships?
No.
No.
Well, it could, but it doesn't according to the current spec, because the current spec is quite clear about what it will. The current spec is for wearables and for tablets and for, on the consumer side. But the guys with the fruit sounding company, I'm not talking about BlackBerry, the fruit sounding company, and then the company that has cell phones that kind of blow up sometimes, well, I think you might know who I'm talking about. Those 2 companies actually wanted to take the thunder with discussing eSIM on the first smartphones. But T-Mobile is actually taking their thunder away by promoting this Digits program, which is very, very cool. And really, T-Mobile is a good operator. They're very savvy. They know what they're doing. So the bottom line here is the Apple iPad Pro has an embedded SIM. If you've ever bought one, has an embedded SIM right now. Also, the Samsung Gear S2 and Gear S3 smartwatches have embedded SIM. Those are the only 3 products that I know in the world with an embedded SIM right now. But all these smart cars have it. But smart cars are not considered consumer devices. It's more considered the industrial side, which is not really fair. Smart cars are not industrial devices, but anyway, that's it. And the GSMA separate M2M for industrial and consumer electronic devices for smartphone, tablets, smartwatches, and other things.
Thank you, Carl.
Oh, ladies always have to.
Okay, one more. We just trying to keep it going.
Okay, I probably don't have enough time to go into your risk management strategy, but you seem to want to approach American governments, small local governments, transit systems for smart technology. What if I told you that you may be secure, your technology may be secure, but you could still get sued if the city is not secure? So what is your risk management strategy for dealing with vulnerable governments the same way you would deal with vulnerable vendors?
Well, as the eSIM vendor, we sell the technology to the manufacturers. The manufacturers of the devices, which are all basically in China, sell those devices, smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, to the mobile network operators in this country. They sell them to the end users. We provide the security for the GSMA and all these standardization, but we're removed from all that. We're actually removed from most of that, because our technology is somewhat blank unless you add things to it to get it to work. So it's almost like saying, I have a cigarette lighter in the car, and I'm going to sue the cigarette lighter manufacturer. Unlikely. You're going to sue the car manufacturer. It's kind of like that.
Well, you're talking about pay systems. And see, once you get into pay systems, that creates an arc of complication that is very diverse. And I think that you
Well, near field communications is the global standard for every subway transit system on the planet. And that technology is all over the world, and it's already standardized.
Yes, but it's anonymous right now.
Why don't we take this offline?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl.